Hello, everybody. I'm back. I've survived the lands remaining, and I'm coming to you with another game and a brand new face on the channel. We've got a guest on. Please, intruder, tell us who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm the intruder. My name's Kash. I use she, her pronouns, and I was very generously invited to play this fantastic game.
Yeah, we've played together on another channel, haven't we? We played Trophy Dart together, and we had a good time, and I thought that Kash would be a wonderful player for the game that we're about to play. And the game that we're about to play is What Dust Remains by Momatoes. Kash, please tell us what Dust Remains is.
What Dust Remains is a narrative game for up to 3 players. Through extensive narrative prompts, we will craft a complex narrative about a pioneer, which single-handedly focused on building their legacy moment by moment, life stage to life stage, from young, hopeful adult to a desperate final death. It's a game about finding meaning in life while balancing ambition with sacrifice.
And in this game, we will select and answer a series of prompts to create a story of struggle and opportunity. Meanwhile, simple but intense dice rolls will force us to face ever-desperate odds to achieve our pioneer's legacy. At many points in the game, the pioneer will ask, how much am I willing to sacrifice?
Mm-hmm. This is not a happy story. For one, the pioneer dies. This is known, and what Dust Remains is a story about the many small failures that threaten to overshadow whatever hope remains. We must not be afraid, be willing and open, and let melancholy fuel us.
And fuel us it will. And if you're looking for a kind of like a tone like guidance at the start of this is going to be sad. This is going to be a real sad game. We are going to build a world, and we are going to build a person's life within that, and we are going to see them struggle, we're going to see them fail, and ultimately we're going to see them die and see whether or not they achieve their legacy. And we're going to take you through the whole game. There'll be a link in the description if you want to pick this game up, which I thoroughly recommend you do. It's fantastic. And yeah, we're going to put this together. We're going to build the world. We'll go through the setup step by step, and then we'll start playing the phases of our pioneer's life. And yeah, it will end well. I'm sure it will. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. Yeah. So we have done off camera all the safety stuff. You'll find the information of the safety tools we're using in the episode description. And we're now going to go through the 5 steps of setup. The second of which, the first one is the safety. The second of which is the world building. Now, just so you all know, myself and Kash have a blank document. We have not discussed anything beforehand, except one very tiny detail.
Well, it is technically not that tiny because it's been huge news.
Yes, yeah. We've kind of vaguely know roughly what our pioneer is going to be. We don't know who they are or what their place in this story is, but with current world events happening, we've decided that we would like our pioneer to be someone who is up amongst the stars, shall we say. But yeah, we're going to build all this out, and we're starting from nothing, and we are going to fill in the details of the world and see whereabouts our pioneer fits in it. So it says, we are now going to establish the facts around the pioneer and the world they live in by answering the following questions as a group. We will have some tables to roll on, and I'm going to suggest that we do roll on some tables when it comes to filling out some details on this, because the prompts are all really good. But other than that, this is a fairly free-form kind of setup step. Number 1, what world is the pioneer immersed in? So... It's basically, are we setting this in the real world? Are we setting this in a post-apocalyptic future? Is it going to be grounded in realism? Is it going to be, set in a small community? Is it going to be in a bustling metropolis? And given that we've decided that, because the Artemis launch happened whenever, a week ago as we were recording this, Kash said to me on Discord, hey, would it be cool if the person was an astronaut? And it was like, okay, that's all we'll have, and that's what we'll run with. So do you see this a futuristic story, a sci-fi story? What's your instinct tell you?
So the first thing that came to my mind was definitely a sci-fi story based in some form of post-apocalyptic. You know that word that I'm trying to say. I can't say it even in German. But yes, a version of the world that maybe we live in, but in the future, that has probably seen some continent-spanning wars, maybe development of new technology, and possibly there's only a few nations left in our world, and now maybe they're trying to expand their nations into the universe. And I see us as, or the pioneer maybe, as someone who's trying to go on a mission to establish a new a new base for maybe their nation or their community.
Okay, right. So I like that very much. We'll go with that. So we are going to set this story in a kind of a grounded sci-fi setting. So something that's based a little bit more in our reality, but it is very much a sci-fi thing. We won't get caught up too much in the details of how things are possible.
No.
But here's a counterpoint to what you've just said. We live in a dreadful world right now, right? We have got rich assholes trying to like build private space forces to go off and kind of colonize other, planets or whatever. What if that's happened and the elite of our world have used up all Earth resources to fuck off and leave and go and live somewhere else, and they've gone off and they're doing that, and they're having pleasure cruises on Mars or whatever, but the rest of us were left with basically this kind of ruined planet, and but now that all the bad people have left, like, does the world come together and sort of kind of like try and kind of globally crowdsource a mission to go and find somewhere that isn't inhabited by rich assholes, that either might be a place for us to live or might have some sort of research purpose for us to make our world habitable again. Because we're kind of, without wanting to get too depressing, like we're kind of past the point of no return environmentally right now.
Already? Do you think? Yes, I think it might be very realistic.
So
no, I like that idea, especially the idea that maybe we're based in research as well. Is very interesting to me.
So our world, then, to answer question number one, what world is the pioneer immersed in? It is a sci-fi world, but grounded in some sort of realism, where the 1% of the world who control 90% of the world's resources have left us to fend for ourselves on a collapsing planet, essentially, and our pioneer is someone who is involved in a mission or something to try and either fix things at home or find a more hopeful future among the stars. So kind of the time period of this is sort of like just the future. Like, we're not going to say like it's 20.
Sometime within the next 50 years or so.
I think that's it. I always love it when you watch like an old movie and it's like a sci-fi movie and it's like 1996, and I'm like, hang on, I remember 1996. It wasn't like that at all. There was much worse music for one. So that's I'm down for that. So in terms of like the sci-fi setting, we'll keep the technology like vaguely grounded. We won't have like kind of laser battles in space, and kind of, I think there's probably like robots and like AIs that will do things, but like I'm not particularly interested in like alien style synthetic humans that are indistinguishable. Like, let's keep this a human story, I think. And we'll maybe fold some of those elements in. We'll see as we go. So we've accomplished something. We have accomplished our mission of deciding the genre. So, and also a lot of this is now in question two, which is, what are the main issues that plague this world? We have basically said capitalism, everybody, is the problem, and it has made our Earth uninhabitable, and it's really set the story in motion for our pioneer. It's whatever we do and whatever their legacy is, it's them leaving Earth is essentially the kind of the catalyst for this story. It says in this question, consider whether issues are societal, technological, political, military, environmental, biological, supernatural, or of another nature, of which I have to say just yes. apart from maybe supernatural.
The supernatural, exactly. Yeah, I see the environment, especially maybe. I imagine the world to be kind of limited in resources now as well. So maybe we're part of a research team trying to figure out where we could go next as humanity, or maybe where we could find a safe space for us to live in now. And I also think that maybe the environment has become almost what is the word when you can't live in a place anymore? Inhabitable,
inhospitable, or
inhospitable.
Uninhabitable. Yeah. So yeah. Almost like the environment that we live in now is maybe like a little hostile towards us. Like it's very hot, and it's hard to kind of eke out any kind of living. Agriculture is very difficult to cultivate. And I like the
Crops
idea that it's just like, we are really running on empty as a planet, and the human race is on the canvas and needs to get back up somehow. Okay.
Almost like the world has evolved, but we've kind of stopped in place and we haven't adapted to the world, so we need to go.
And we couldn't adapt to it because those rich assholes have taken everything. You know what I mean? They're the people who have they're the people who've done this damage, and we've been left with the pieces to kind of pick up and reassemble. So, number 3 is, where does the pioneer come from, and what is their role? So the examples it gives here, it says a scientist working on finding a cure, a metropolitan office worker with no free time, a security worker who keeps threats at bay at night, a scion of the royal working class. I think that we've already established where he can't come from. So our guy can't come from the high society, although he could. That's dramatically quite interesting. That could be someone they got left behind, perhaps. But then I don't know what that does for our motivations. But yeah, I wonder whether our pioneer might be someone who's been kind of thrust into this. Like, there's no one else who can fix this problem, and they are perhaps the person who comes from quite unassuming or humble origins, and
it would make sense to me. Maybe if they have somehow been able to get access to very good education for some reason, possibly because they were on a stipend or something like this, and ended up being extremely well trained in whatever they do. Maybe we are an engineer or a biologist, a chemist or something like this, and maybe we are within the top 2% of our class and somehow got chosen to participate in a program or something like this that ends up making us become one of these top-notch astronauts sent on missions like these.
That's really interesting. I really like the idea that perhaps our pioneer was someone who was recruited by the elites to help with their mission, but was never considered to be brought with them, and they're left. They helped. They gave them, So maybe there's like a real feeling of guilt about them, that they helped these people get away, and maybe they assumed they would go, but when they got left behind, they realized that they were just being kind of used as a tool to achieve these goals. But yeah, so we want someone who is. I wonder whether. So really like the idea of, if this world is really struggling for resource and really struggling to kind of have the best of anything, really, I wonder whether it's someone who has got an aptitude for like science or biology or whatever, but they actually do another job. Like they're like an engineer or a mechanic or something, and like we have to sort of make do with the best people we can get. And this is an incredibly gifted person who has the aptitude to do multiple things, but they weren't like training all their life to be a scientist or whatever. They actually did a quote unquote real job before they did that, and they which I think would be really fun, because it might make them more practical, or like perhaps be have a slightly different attitude to things, rather than someone who spent their full life in academia, for example.
Being dedicated to it. Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe like almost like a jack of all trades, someone that is just very skilled in a general field, and then with their skill that they've collected over the years, they know how to adapt these skills to different challenges, basically.
Yeah, it's basically someone who's got to be all things to all people at all times, because we don't have the luxury of specialists. And that gives us quite a lot of flexibility in thinking, well, there's actually a lot now that could go wrong, because this person isn't set up to deal with every single situation, and I find that really interesting. So that is the first part of the setup done. That is our world building done. So we have our pioneer is going to be someone who is working as an astronaut in a world where society, the environment, and everything else has collapsed because of capitalism, and the elite few have escaped the horrors that are left on Earth to go and start another colony somewhere else. Whether they've been successful or not, that is not this story's concern. Our concern is with our pioneer, and our pioneer's mission or their goal in life is to try and in some way rebuild what has been lost, or find a new hope, find a new way forward. Step 3. So we've done the safety, we've done the world building. This is step 3. This is legacy. Now, legacy is really important in this game. This is what we are trying to achieve as players. We are trying to see what legacy our pioneer will leave behind. The instructions say players must now craft a legacy. The legacy is the impact that the pioneer wishes to make in the world that you've built. It should be an achievement that they'll devote their entire life to. It keeps them awake at night, makes them wonder whether they've truly done anything meaningful for the world. It must be aspirational, something that they always crave. Now, there's a slightly more specific way we do this part, and to do this, it says to create a legacy, players take turns sharing one thing they think the pioneer has always wanted to do since childhood. And to do that, we have to say in first person, as the pioneer, and we'll do a lot of this in this game, we narrate in first person. We have to say, when I was a kid, I have always wanted to be, and then we have to fill in the blank there. And once we've both had a go at that, we will then craft that into a legacy and what their ultimate goal is. So what I like about this is that because it's something you've always wanted to do since being a child, it can be a little dreamlike, or it can be a little unrealistic. And I think I'm gonna start by saying, when I was a kid, I've always wanted to be on another planet. So that's just a very that's something that a 5-year-old would say.
Of course it is.
And what part that feeds into the legacy, we'll see. But that is the statement I'm going to go with. I'm just going to add that to the document, and then I'll throw it over to you.
I think so. The immediate thought that came to my mind would be, when I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a hero, someone that people would write books about.
I think when I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a hero is just perfect. I think we can kind of stop there. So if you want to just add that to the document, that would be grand.
I'll add it.
Those are two very broad aims, and I like them both. So now, as a group, once we've now shared those goals, we have to decide how the adult pioneer can integrate all of the childhood desires into one overarching wish in life. The guidance says legacy can be as broad as die beloved by all their friends and peers, or it can be as specific as head into the Amazon forest to single-handedly save an endangered species from dying out. This is really important. This is going to be what we are working towards. So what are your thoughts with our childhood ambitions already down?
I mean, with our childhood ambitions already down, I think the most consequential.
Consequential.
I mean, consequential wish that I could see our pioneer having is that they want to go find a new place for humanity to live, somewhere where they have never been before, possibly a new planet that they've dreamed about since they were a child.
I wonder whether to like just focus that a little bit, but you keep the main thrust of that. The legacy can be they want to find a new hope for humanity. So whether that is, and that can be something that they, even before they trained as an astronaut, or this person who might have this mission that they've always wanted to do, because around them they would have seen the world falling apart. So I wonder whether that's just broad enough and vague enough for us to tell any kind of story. But I think that kind of includes both the other things we want to hit, right? So are you happy with that? So
I'm very happy with that. I think the idea of finding a new hope for humanity can mean so many things. Maybe they'll never reach their personal goal, as in like I'll want to step my foot on another planet, but maybe they will achieve or collect enough knowledge on how to do it in order to find new hope for humanity. I think that makes sense for me.
Yeah, and we're telling a sci-fi story. We've put the words "A New Hope" in there. We're writing Star Wars, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. So the way this game works is that is our legacy that we're working towards. Our pioneer is we're going to try and tell the story of how they try and find a new hope for humanity. Now, mechanically in this game, there is now going to be 8 boxes underneath this, and every time we succeed at something, we fill in a box, and if we fill in all 8 boxes, then we have succeeded in realizing that legacy. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think that's that realistic, but it does happen. It can happen. But yeah, we'll kind of see how far our pioneer gets along this legacy track. So that is steps 1, 2, and 3. Now, we are now going to round out our character in a bit more detail. And step 4 of this process is called facets. Now, facets, they sort of fill in the pioneer's personality and also tell us what they're good at and what kind of like background they have. And they're split into 3 types. They are resources, which are finite things that our pioneer has. They don't have to be physical things. They could be like, your patience, for example, could be a resource. Then there are going to be joys, which are our sources of happiness, things that we like, and things that provide emotional fulfillment. And then there are principles, which are our core values, essentially. Now, we need to generate 3 facets for each of these types. So 3 resources, 3 joys, and 3 principles. Now, this is one of the areas where the game provides a whole bunch of really good tables to roll on. And I like to roll for at least one of each. So and if you want to get your dice, grab a d6. We're going to roll, first of all, for the resource. So roll a dice and let me know what you got.
All right. First roll of the game. That's a 4.
Oof, that would be a failure in the game, but we'll take it. So for the resource, it says number 4, your physique. How does it manifest? Is it beauty? Is it prowess? Is it reflexes? Decide which boon you were born with.
I mean, obviously, I think if I think of astronauts, the immediate thought that comes to my head is someone that has to be physically very fit, of course, to endure the whole intergalactic space travel. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have a different idea. Maybe.
No, what you said is really good, and like I don't say this often, but it just made me think of like the movie Armageddon, right? Which I'm saying now is a bad movie, right? But there's always that question, and there's a great social media clip of Ben Affleck, who is an actor in that movie. If you don't know the movie Armageddon, they need to drill into an asteroid that's heading towards Earth. So they train a bunch of miners, oil drillers, to be astronauts. There's a great social media clip of a very drunk Ben Affleck doing the movie commentary for the DVD, and he says when they started making the film, why didn't they train astronauts to be oil drillers? Why did they train drillers to be astronauts? which is great. Now, this is a long-winded way of me saying, well, we haven't got any astronauts anymore, and I wonder whether our Pioneer, and we kind of hinted at this earlier when I said maybe they did another job. What if our Pioneer is like the best suited to train to be an astronaut because of the physical qualities they have that make them, like you said, like the demands of traveling vast distances at zero gravity or whatever. But I also wonder whether like they are like super adaptable to, you know, that space travel, but then also like they're able to fulfill all the tasks of a spaceship that isn't perhaps like crewed fully. So like we might not have enough resources to send a crew of 20 astronauts up, might be 5. So this person, I think I really like the idea of being super physically fit. So here's a question then. So if we go with that, so it'll be the physique is our resource, and then the detail of that is supreme physical fitness. What did they do? What was their job?
So yeah, first thought that sprung to my mind was maybe we were an industrial climber or someone like an engineer that has to work in a very physically demanding job. So I see like someone who's either an industrial climber or maybe someone who does these deep, what do you call them? These the divers that dive under oil rigs or something like this. You know, one of these jobs that is paid incredibly well because it's so deadly.
Yeah, those people who work like 4 weeks a year, but those are the most stressful weeks. Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I wonder whether that. Yeah, so basically, it's like a specialist engineer who works in extreme conditions. Where I live in the UK, there's like loads of steelworks, and like they used to hire people who could like withstand incredibly hot temperatures and like be also working in steel, but like also wearing protective gear as well and being able to keep going. So that I wonder whether this is physically a very strong person who is adaptable to some pretty extreme conditions. So let's put under resources physique and intense fitness, and with the idea that we're filling out this role that they are I want to say an extreme engineer. They are an extreme engineer. Right, I will roll our first joy. So let's see how this shakes out. I rolled a 1, which is on brand for me. For joy, it says advocacy. You have a project different from your legacy that you drive or support. What is it? Instantly thinking about someone who works in those extreme conditions, I wonder if they're like a union guy, like they're someone who has always been like pushing for better rights for people who does his job or their job, or like, people who like they are like a literal advocate for their fellow workers or the people who work in those conditions, and perhaps we're looking at someone who's a bit more rounded, and maybe that's why they lead this mission, because they're a leader of people. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Maybe it's even because somehow, maybe this advocacy stems from the job somehow taking a toll on them also, maybe not just physically, but possibly also mentally, because if they work in a very demanding field. So for example, I think of these people that dive on oil rigs. It can be incredibly scary as well to be down in this vast sea of nothingness. And I would imagine, I mean, I've never done it myself, obviously, because I'm sane. But I could see it taking a toll on you mentally, of course, being apart from your family for a very long time. Maybe relationships break apart. So maybe this has somehow affected their life in a meaningful way. So that's probably where their advocacy stems from. Maybe they do like promotion for mental health in these in this work field or something like this. And yeah, this is probably where their willingness to unite their workers comes from.
I think the more you say it, the more I really like the idea that they are a deep sea engineer, that they are doing stuff. Maybe it's like the oceans are like the least bad part of of the world that we're left to live in. Like, they're massively polluted, but like we talked about the environment being hostile. Maybe it's like way too hot to live on like, unless anywhere that you have to live near the sea, or like in some cases maybe under the sea. And I think that I really like how isolated that is as a job. Like, you know, being on your own, you said, like, has a huge effect on your relationships and your abilities to do things. I love that, Kash. I think that's a really good. So advocacy. So we'll keep it kind of broad. Like, it's someone who is will fight for people like them, you know, who do these jobs for the good of other people. And I think that's a really interesting kind of value that we're bringing through, that like they are willing to fight for other people, but this is a joy. So this is something that like they don't have to do, which is why I kind of thought maybe like it being a union thing, where like, you know, you're not under any obligation to join a union. I mean, you should, but like this is someone who, like, even in the most desperate circumstances, and you know, in a world where like just surviving is hard, they are willing to fight for other people because it brings them joy. I love that very much. Let's do a principle. So do you want to roll the dice and see what we get?
I do. Let's see. I actually have my mind set on something. Let's hope I can roll for it.
Well, I'm happy for you to just pick, if you want to just pick it or say what it was.
No, I don't want to just pick it. I want to make it up to to fate. So I rolled a 6, which is choose dignity or honor. How does this manifest? That's a good question. I feel like they're so close by for me, dignity and honor.
I think dignity is. I think the interesting thing about dignity over honor is that dignity's slightly less external. You don't present it as much as you do honor, perhaps. That like maybe it's like a quiet dignity that this person has, but I don't know how that manifests. How do we think?
That's very hard for me to think about. I feel like maybe honor would be the one that the pioneer would be more drawn towards, because maybe because of their whole I don't want to say shtick, but like their them finding purpose in basically advocating for a group of people that they belong to. So maybe honor to me is, like, as you said, a more external thing. So, but I wonder how does it manifest?
Do
hard
we think
for me
that,
to come up with something
that perhaps, and we can choose another or re-roll it. We're held to this, but I wonder whether the honor part of it is it's someone else's legacy. So what if they do a lot of this work because it was in their family and they're carrying on that tradition, the honor of doing that? Maybe their you know, parent or grandparents, or all of those above, fulfilled some of these roles, and there's an honor part of it. The other thing as well is that this principle can kind of be a weakness, and it could be an honor could be a weakness. That's kind of where I'm thinking about, but I'm also happy for you to go with because you said you had something in mind. What did you have in mind?
The one that I had in mind was loyalty or independence, and I would have picked independence. But actually, now that how you phrase this idea of kind of continuing the honor of your predecessors, I think maybe our pioneer comes from a family, or in the broad sense from like a community where this type of work is very cherished, and they want to basically uphold the honor that has been passed on to them. But as we said in the beginning, maybe the pioneer was also, you know, using this type of skill set for something that they didn't actually identify with. So you said that maybe we worked for these elites and helped them basically leave the planet to us in shambles. And maybe now we're kind of on a mission to restore our honor in a sense. You know, does that make sense for you?
That makes a lot of sense. And then the only other thing that I'd add to that is because of the state the world is in, I wonder whether the honor of this comes from the fact that our pioneer is going to be the last of these things, and
yeah.
that's that kind of honor. I think we can be a little vague with this, but I really like what you just said about like coming from like a line of people, but also feeling like they maybe betrayed that by working for the elites and helping them do it, and feeling partially responsible and feeling perhaps dishonored by the fact that they did that and driven by that honor. I really like that. So yeah, jot down the principles. Our first one is honor. Now, I wonder whether we want to just keep rolling because these prompts are great, or whether we just want to pick, or we want to come up with some of ourselves. What's your first thought for resource? Do you want to roll? Do you want to pick?
I like the idea of rolling as well because it makes you it challenges you to come up with something on the spot as well. I like the idea.
Let's commit to it.
And maybe only if we roll the exact same thing, then we can pick something that we prefer. Exactly. All right. So we're back to resource, you said, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I rolled a 1. Inheritance. Someone has bestowed you with a valuable resource source that can help you in life. What is it? And I mean, I think it kind of picks up on what we just talked about, so I think it fits really well. A valuable resource. I wonder if that's something physical, like an object, or if it's in a more broad sense, like a skills.
I think it's skills. I think if we said that this person might be the last one of this, you always hear about like in countries where there's these traditional crafts or whatever, and like Japan's a really good example because like the government protects traditional crafts, like they invest and fund people who do these traditional arts because they want to keep them alive, where in other parts of the world it doesn't work like that. And I wonder whether like this person does this very key important thing, this deep sea engineering or part of whatever it is, and it's so specialized and it's so like localized that it exists pretty much in this one community and it's been passed down, and this person, our pioneer, is the last person who has this skill in the world, and it dies with them. And I wonder whether that's why they are selected to be this person who goes. I think that so if you want to put inheritance and then just put like bracket skill or something, I think that's what's been passed down to them. I am interested in whether or not it's a familial inheritance, or whether I liked what you said about a community, like passing that on. I've just been on holiday to Korea, and I went to an island there where like there's a famous like trade where they are these old women who dive without breathing apparatus, and they go and they pull shellfish off the ocean floor, and they've done it for centuries, but they're all in their 80s, so they're like already old, and like it's sad, but that tradition will at some point die out. But there are people trying to keep it alive. But I think I read somewhere that it was like 90% of the people who do this are over 60. So it's like it's not something that will carry on forever. And I really like that idea that this is something that's not a family thing. That's a community thing. That's an environment thing. That's people who live in the same place. And I think that's more interesting to me than, oh, my dad did it and his mum did it, so I did it. That's more interesting to me anyway. But
I like the idea of community as well. But is it then something, so this type of skill, is this really, is it like a mental capacity, or does it also basically translate in their physical skill set? I don't know how to word it better, but do you understand what I'm trying to say? Is it like a not like a superpower, but maybe like a physical thing that they're really good at doing? Like, for example, I don't know, when you made that example with the older women in Korea diving to dive for shellfish, I imagine their lung capacity just to be like naturally bigger than other people's, or like, I don't know, these people in Kenya that run in the mountain ranges, they also have like a very high affinity of oxygen sticking to their blood or something like this. So maybe this is something that from our community we've kind of picked up as a general, like, let's say, mind skill that then translates into something more physical.
I think you're exactly right. I think it has to be someone who has the physical capability of doing it, but also has learned the skill. The thing about those divers that I was talking about, they start training at like age 10 or something. So like they increase their lung capacity, but like obviously if they don't have the lung capacity, then they're not going to be very good at it. So I wonder whether like this is something that, you know, physically our Pioneer is strong enough to do at pressure underwater, but they're also skilled enough that it's quite intricate work. And I wonder if it's like, you know, maybe because a lot of infrastructure has moved underwater, like it could be like fiber cabling or something. So they're practically like doing surgery underwater. You know what I mean? Like they have to be really dexterous and nimble fingered, but also able to withstand these pressures. And I'm going to say sharks as well.
Yes,
they're going to fight off sharks.
Yes.
So yeah, I really like that. I really love that idea of it being a community thing that's passed down, but also they are physically attuned to it. So yeah, a deep sea engineer / surgeon is kind of what we've got. And this, I think that's kind of cool with like where they're going and what they're doing. I think that's a really interesting approach. And when we play the game, we're going to be sacrificing some of these things. And I wonder whether like as our Pioneer gets older, they might have to find themselves sacrificing that sharpness that they have, or sacrificing their ability to withstand pressure, emotional or physical. I really like that idea. I think that sets up really nicely. Is it my turn to roll again? Yeah, I think so.
It is, yes. I think it's your turn to roll for joy.
Okay, so I rolled a 5. 5 says, support network. You have friends who look out for you. Who are they? It's tempting to say like the community that this person belongs to, but I wonder whether, because I really liked what you said earlier about it being quite isolated, and it being quite, it puts a lot of social pressure on someone when they have to do this work. So I wonder whether this Pioneer is someone who perhaps has gone through life without that closeness, but this support network is the people they trained with for this mission or for leaving. So it's like almost like their astronaut class, or their, I mean, I'm tempted to say crew. Could the crew be the first family they've known, or? Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially because it is such an isolated experience as well that it would bond almost everyone, even if they don't have any other thing in common. I think that does make a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah, and also that's really interesting that, like, you know, you said that their childhood goal was always wanting to be a hero. If you lived a life where you didn't have a lot of friends or like family around, like, then wanting to be a hero is probably quite a goal that you would have, not in a kind of like attention seeking sense, but like having something that displays value, or some kind of measure of greatness, I suppose. I think that's really interesting. So yeah, do you want to pop down in joys then?
Yes.
Support network, which is the crew, which I think we'll have fun defining. Then yeah, do you want to roll on principle?
Yes, let me do that really quickly. So I rolled a 5. Tenacity or courage, how does this manifest? Okay, you have to teach me English really quickly. What does tenacity mean?
Tenacity means someone who like doesn't want to give up. Like they are like being tenacious is someone who's like they're kind of fearless, but they're also like very hard to keep down. It's someone who like is very single-minded and very like determined to get what they want. Also, like in the sense of that they're kind of stubborn in their ways, or is that too negative? I suppose it can be negative, tenacity, but like it's sort of a generally seen as a positive trait to be tenacious. It's the kind of thing that like if a man does it, it's positive. If a woman does it, it's negative. Do you know what I mean? That's in our sexist world, that's how it's viewed. Like
I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, but being tenacious is a good quality, and having tenacity meaning that you won't give up on something even if it's hard. And both of these options, tenacity or courage, actually fit in with what we've come up with already quite well, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the idea of choosing tenacity. First of all, because learned a new word. And secondly, also because I think it would be interesting to also. I mean, even though you said it's overall a word that is mostly associated with a positive trait, it does give us the option to kind of maybe put in a small, let's say, personal. How do you say this? Not slight, but a personal. Oh god, English is very difficult.
Like a weakness.
Yeah, like a weakness almost, because you can be so tenacious that it can also be a hindrance to you basically like continuing on the mission that you want to continue on. Because if you're too set on something, maybe you won't see the broader picture. Maybe you won't see things going on around you that you're not focused on. So I think I like the idea of tenacity. Like, we're really striving towards a goal, but it can also make it so that we're maybe sometimes too focused on certain things. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And I wonder whether like our pioneer is someone who has, through their tenacity, perhaps pushed themselves past what was safe or sensible. Even though I don't know if I want the pioneer to be like reckless, but like if you're the last person on Earth who can do a thing, you sort of want to do it as safely as possible. And I wonder whether like there's been times where they've been like, well, I'm the only one who can do this, I'm just going to see it done. And that kind of drive is what has kind of made them keep going. So yeah, put that in there as a principle, tenacity. And yes, great that you've learned a new word. This is edutainment, everybody. So we're back to resources, and it's me again. And our last resource is... okay. So number 2 is your mind. What particular aspect, for example, optimism, adaptability, or creativity, are you strong with? I kind of think that we've already answered this question, and it's like that single-minded focus to do the thing. And I wonder whether focus is actually the answer here.
A good word, yeah.
Like, to do those jobs, you know, to be like like an army surgeon in a field hospital under fire requires intense focus, and be able to shut out, like, you know, the horrors of what's going on. So to be someone who does very specific work in extreme conditions, they must have to like be able to focus to do that. And I think that that's what we'll do. So I think focus fits beautifully. So do you want to roll for a joy?
Yes. Let's see. I rolled a 4. Links to a cherished past. You are always connected to the past with this valuable item or location. What memories do you associate with it? Maybe we've taken some physical object as a reminder from the place that we come from. I mean, I imagine the pioneer to have basically left this community that they used to be a part of once they were chosen to go on this mission, and maybe they ended up taking something from there just to remind themselves where they came from. And I wonder, what could it be?
I don't really think too much about like what the actual thing is, but I wonder whether like it's a sentimental thing, and it's I wonder whether it's something that they should not be allowed to take on the mission with them for whatever.
Yeah.
But they do. And I wonder whether, like, my first thought was like whether it was like a necklace or like a something, or a piece of jewelry or something that was sentimental. But then I wondered whether, because we're talking about the fact they work underwater a lot, I wonder if it's like a seashell. I don't know why I'm thinking that, like, and they listen to it because you can't hear the sea. I wonder whether it's something and it's got that childlike quality to it. There's this seashell that they have, something like that. Any thoughts or want to build on that?
No, I like that idea. I think that's a really, really cool idea. Maybe it was something that they picked up in one of their their dives. Maybe it's a special kind of seashell that their community is always kind of I don't know, made up stories about. Maybe there's a um, like a general belief in their community that this type of seashell stands for something specific or something important. Maybe it's almost like a spiritual thing as well. So
I love that very much.
Yeah.
I wonder whether, like, because we're talking about a hostile world where the environment has collapsed, a lot of species are probably extinct, and I wonder whether, like, this is the shell of like an extinct crab that no one's seen, or something like, or like a like a crustacean or something, like a hermit crab, something that someone's not seen. And okay, here we go. What if amongst this community there is this story that when this particular creature is seen again, that's when there's hope for the world? And I wonder whether our pioneer has one of its shells, and that's what they take with them as a symbol of like the hope.
Yeah.
Does that work?
I like that idea. Yeah, I like that idea a lot, because maybe they were not allowed to take it because of this whole like being afraid of infecting the new world where they go with something that they've taken from the old world. And but they took it anyway.
I love that. So pop down in the Joy seashell, and we'll just leave it at that, and then we'll kind of define it a bit more later. Now, we're in principles, and this is your last chance, Kash. Do you want to pick the thing that you thought of, or do you want to roll again? You've got a 1 in 4 chance of rolling it anyway.
1 in 4. Yeah, that's true.
Or do you want to just pick it? Because you seemed like you had a strong idea straight away.
I mean, my mind was kind of set on independence, I said, but I really liked the idea of coming up with something new based on whatever you rolled. I mean, I'll give it a chance and see if I end up rolling it just by luck, or also if I roll the exact same thing as before. Would it be possible if for example, if I rolled a 6 again, would I then be able to pick which one did we pick first? The honor? Yeah. So would I be able to pick dignity, for example, or does it not work because it's already like you have to take choice?
I mean, we can do what we want. No one's going to come and arrest us, which is good. But what I would say is we just have to see if they feel too similar, because you don't want them to feel too similar. See what you roll. I think that's what we do first.
All right, I'll roll. I did actually roll a 4.
There we go.
Loyalty or independence.
It is written in the stars.
It really is. So let's go for loyalty then. No, just kidding. Let's take independence, because I feel like if we've learned one thing from our previous work, the thing that we've been doing, or basically training for in a sense all our life, then it must be that we have to be independent in these deep dark waters, because we can't really rely on anyone else down there except ourselves. So I think independence fits really well.
I think that's really interesting as well, given that we've also rolled up that they have found joy in a crew. And I wonder whether like they never really fully feel part of it, because they know that they are like a lone wolf in a sense. I think that's a really interesting tension, actually, that independence. So do you want to pop that down as a principle?
Yes.
Of independence? And they're all our facets. We have rolled up 3 resources, 3 joys, and 3 principles, and we will see how they come into play throughout the game. So step 5 is final touches. We have some questions that we are going to answer. That will flesh out the pioneer. There are 5 questions, and we're going to choose 1 each to answer. The questions are: what gives you pride? What is your reputation? What is a secret you don't want others to know? What keeps you up at night? And how deeply do you love? Now, there's a very broad range of questions. Did any jump out to you, Kash?
Yes. What keeps you up at night kind of jumped at me right from when you first read it, because I thought, what if the thing that we do, basically this deep diving, what if this is also one of the things that scares us the most? What if this vastness of the darkness, basically, which is also, I mean, it translates really well to our universe as well. It's very, very deep, very vast, very dark, and
Yeah.
maybe it scares us. Maybe the endlessness kind of haunts us at night as well, but kind of intrigues us to a sense where we can't really figure out where we stand in between. It's almost like these thoughts of existential dread and existing within this vastness, this nothingness, but being faced with the thought that you have to exist because you are existing in this place. I don't know how to phrase it better, but
I think you phrased it pretty much as well as you can, with deep existential dread. I think that's really good. So yeah, do you want to pop down deep existential dread? This game doesn't have stats, but it does have deep existential dread, which is great. I'm going to pick one just because we keep saying deep, because we're under the sea. Is how deeply do you love? And I really like the idea that our pioneer deeply wants to be loved and has a lot of love to give, but spends so much time on their own and so much time in extreme conditions that they don't feel like they're worthy of it, and they are looking for a connection, whether it's romantic or whether it's just familial, or whether it's also platonic, but like they have deep reserves of love that they've never had to tap into. And I think that like that's just a really interesting fictional conceit of someone who spends their time at the bottom of the ocean, loves very deeply, but has never been given the chance. So how deeply do you love? Very. I like that. Okay, last touches. We are going to name the pioneer and give them some pronouns. What are you thinking, Kash?
So when we talked about the pioneer now in establishing their personality traits, I always I envisioned a man for some reason. I don't know why, but I envisioned a man, someone who's very like muscular, but maybe not like buff, but maybe like lean muscle. But it doesn't have to mean that for me they have a certain gender. It's just some of the physique that I saw for some reason. But I was wondering also if we want to keep it up, or keep the idea of the exact look of the pioneer open to people watching this, then we could also make them like a kind of like a genderless construct in a sense, and maybe just don't give them a name that is like associated with a certain gender. Maybe it's just like a random letter, like a K or a V or a T or something like this. I don't know.
I love that. So Kash, you can think of a letter to name this person. I thought, weirdly, of like a female gymnast when I was thinking about this, because like it's a very specialized type of physique. It's a very specialized type of strength, because like you see gymnasts and you're like, how are you doing this? This is like supernatural strength that you've got, but you are also 4 feet tall, but like you could punch my head off quite easily. So that was kind of where I was thinking, and I wonder whether like I'm influenced by this story of the old Korean divers. I wonder whether we have, our person is like a woman who is perfectly physically suited to the nature of this job, and also has that tenacity and that spirit of independence, but also that isolation, that she kind of goes out there and does it and tries to keep this alive. So like that was my thought. Are you happy with that? So do you want to...
I'm comfortable with that. I'm very happy with that. I also want to see more women go to space.
I want to see more lonely deep sea engineer women. It's I want to see women in STEM, and that includes very like underwater ladies. What letter would you like to call them?
Q.
Q. Perfect. So this is Q, our pioneer, and I can't wait to see what happens to her. We are going to take a quick break because we have finished the setup, and then we will be back with the first phase of our pioneer's life.
The world shimmers right before you. Everything is possible, and you can be anyone you want. Sure, it sounds like it'll be hard work, but you know you can do it. You're you. Special. Unique. Brimming with endless potential.
Okay, you may have noticed we look slightly different. It's because there was 3 weeks that passed between the short break that we took last time and this first life stage. Just move past it, everyone. Like, it's fine. It's slightly distracting, but like, don't even worry about it. We're here and we're ready to play. We are going to begin the life stage, the first life stage. It says the oldest person starts with the first draw. I'm pretty sure that's me. So I'm going to draw from the first subdeck. The deck of cards is each suit is broken into 3 subdecks, and I'm going to draw from the first one, which is the Ace to 5. I'm going to pick a prompt, then we're going to narrate it, and we are going to see what happens to Q. So the first draw is the 2 of Hearts. Either you've decided to undertake a new education to understand the world better. What did you learn and why did you focus on it? Or you've decided to undergo training to upskill one of your talents. What skill do you hone and why is it necessary? I think what this is going to be, I'm going to pick the first one, which is you've decided to undertake new education to understand the world better. What did you learn and why do you focus on it? I think this is going to be having to focus on something Q doesn't like an uncomfortable thing they need to learn. And I think that they're a very practical person. We've kind of established that, haven't we? That they're like highly skilled, very suitable to this one job they're going to do. But I think that they're being asked perhaps by a mentor to do some book learning, to do some like theoretical work for this. And I think that if we succeed in this, I think that Q will surprise herself at how good she is at understanding theoretical work. And yeah, if we fail, then I think that it might drive her more into kind of isolation of being super finessed at just doing that one thing. They sound like good stakes to you?
Definitely, yes.
So we're going to roll 4 dice in this stage. We're looking for 5s and 6s as successes. Any number of 5s or 6s is a success. Anything else is a failure. And we can burn our facets to bump these rolls up and make them successes, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's first roll. Let's see how it goes. I got a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 6. So this
is a success.
Is a success. So I think that Q, I think we see her sort of maybe like bullishly resisting this instruction from a mentor or someone older than her who knows the benefit of it, to go to like a place where she's completely out of her comfort zone. I think that we see her enter like a library maybe, and she's still wearing like a heavy work overalls, and like the other students in there perhaps are like recoiling at like the smell of like the ocean that she brings in with her, and she doesn't look like she belongs there, and waiting for her on desk are these kind of tomes of like algebra and complex equations. You can tell I'm not very clever in real life. I can't even conceive of what this stuff is supposed to look like. And I think that like she's expecting to open the page. She's expecting to open these books and turn the pages and basically have this not make any sense to her whatsoever. But it just does. And when like you learn something and it explains something about something you can already do, like she's now starting to feel like this thing that felt instinctive to her, this the fact that she could work at pressure under the water and do these very delicate, intricate tasks suddenly connected to the theory of it now. It now makes like a deeper like amount of sense to her. And not only that, I think like she enjoys it. I think that there's a part of her that this book is almost a little bit like validating to her, that like, you know, what she can do has an explanation, and it can be, you know, it's there, and it's science, and it's geometry, and it's all the things that other people understand, and now it gives her a deeper appreciation of her skills, I guess. And yeah, I think that's what she takes away from that moment in her life. Have you got anything more to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty significant already.
You're someone who's a lot more book learned than me.
No, but I think that's pretty significant already, that she kind of almost puts a type of validation onto what she's done so far, like physically in her life, through this recognition of understanding the logic behind it, of why she can do what she can do. I think that's already pretty. It's good.
Pretty good, right? Cool. So we have achieved that goal. We're now going to draw. Kash is now going to draw from the second deck. Tell me, what do you get?
So I get the 9 of Hearts, which would give me 2 different prompts. The first prompt would be, your success would not have been possible without the help of your friends. How have they supported you, and what steps do you take to strengthen the relationship? And the second one would be, some of your friends show their true colors to your shock and dismay. What did they do, and what steps do you take to cut them out? Those are both pretty good. I think they're both very interesting. One is leaning more towards how relationships affect me, or like Q, more in a positive way, at least from what I understand it. And the other one is more how have your friends betrayed you. So I think maybe I'll pick the first one. Your success would not have been possible without the help of your friends. How they supported you, and what steps do they take to strengthen the relationship? I would say that maybe Q, or maybe I have a friend who's been around for as long as I can remember. Maybe it's like maybe even a close relative, or someone that, you know, these types of cousins that, you know, you're not really sure if you're really cousin or not, but you've just known each other for a very long time. So this might be, it might be a person that has just always been around, and maybe they're not as academically inclined as we are, but they support us all along, and maybe they. I could see them kind of pushing us towards continuing our education. I think you described very well that maybe Q was feeling a little bit out of place, but this person always pushed us to continue and to believe in ourselves. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that's a person that we should actually name, like a real, you know, like,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
I'd like. I mean, do we want to carry on with the naming convention of it being a letter?
A letter, yeah. I think that's it. So maybe our what we believe to be cousin named T has always been around, and picked us up from school, brought us there, sat with us when we were really struggling to grasp the concepts of what was trying to be put into our brains, and maybe they just have always been around, and I feel like. Yeah, I feel like they support us just by being there, by pushing us in the right steps. And
I wonder if, like, because we've just described in the previous prompt how, you know, and also in the character setup, that like this is the work that Q does is sort of traditional and community based and passed around. I wonder if T can't do a certain part of it, whether they struggle with the academic part or they struggle with the physical labor part of it, and they're just happy to see us and push us
succeed.
So it says here to roll the dice to see if your relationship goes as
planned, which is quite interesting. And I think you just mentioned something very interesting. If T is not able to do maybe physically the things that we do, because the second part of the prompt is how have they supported you, but then also what steps do you take to strengthen the relationship? Maybe in return, Q tries her best to kind of like almost like boot camp T into the same physical prowess in order to be able to succeed in the same type of we said it was kind of like deep sea diving, no? So I feel like maybe Q tries to return the favor by basically being a personal trainer to T.
So I wonder then, if the role succeeds, does T gain some prowess in being able to withstand pressure and so on? But if you fail this dice roll, what happens to T?
I think if I fail this dice roll, T will come to the realization that this type of work is really not for them, and that they are happy just standing by and trying to support us, but that they're not in, let's say, in the same physical shape to withstand all this pressure that Q has trying to put them through. So let's see.
Here's a little bit of extra spice before you roll. And you obviously don't have to accept this, but what if this roll fails? T drowns.
Yes.
And
I think that's
something that Q has to live with.
Yes. No, that should be it. No, for sure.
Let's pressure then.
No. All right. Let's see. T, are you gonna make it? T's not gonna make it. I'm very sorry. I rolled a 3, a 4, and a 1.
So, when you fail a dice roll, that doesn't have to be it for our story. We can burn one of our facets, one of our resources, one of our joys, or one of our principles to see that roll change. Now, it's up to you because you rolled those dice. You're the one who let T drown. It's your fault, Kash. But like, whether you want, I think it's really interesting either way. But like, would you like to burn a facet, or would you like to actually just narrate what happens when this training goes wrong?
I'm looking at the facets at the moment and trying to see if there's something that would, in the moment of T's possible drowning, if there would be something that would make sense for Q to lose in order to save T. So I'm going through the facets that we have, resources that we have, our physique, so the ability to withstand intense pressure. We have inheritance, which is kind of like, I think, our niche skill set of the skill set of basically doing this deep sea diving. And then also our last resource is our mind, which is means that we are very intensely focused. And then we have our joys, advocacy, union. We have the support network. I think support network would be quite interesting to lose as a facet, because maybe we succeed, or maybe Q succeeds in rescuing T, but we somehow then lose the support network of T and maybe other
lose the trust, maybe that like maybe the training puts T in danger and Q has to rescue T. And everyone else sees, oh, actually perhaps Q is a little reckless, and but that could be it. That works.
I think I would go. I'll go with that. We'll burn our support network, and Q manages in the situation in which T is close to drowning, manages to save them, but through this, T and maybe also the other people that are close to them realize that what Q's been doing, this type of trying to push T to basically build the same set of skill set, the same set of physical skill set, has been extremely reckless, and maybe Q should have realized a long time ago that T was not cut out to do the same work, and T was basically just trying to support us, to be there for us, and to maybe also prove to themselves that they could live up to Q's expectation. But at this moment, he understands that this is really not the type of work that they should be doing, and everyone else knows that as well. And Q will be faced with the consequences of basically, submitting their cousin, their loved one, to this intense training that almost killed them.
And I really like the idea that perhaps it's a bit people see Q as reckless, but it's also a bit like, oh, they're kind of brilliant. They're the only person who can do this, and no one else should try. Or very few people can do this. We talked a little bit about in the character creation part of this about, you know, the art of deep sea engineering being kind of like this dying art or whatever, you know, this tradition that is going to end with Q. And I really like the idea that maybe some of the network around Q thought that like perhaps she wouldn't be the only one and that other people could do it, but this has just proved that she's the last hope for this tradition and for humanity in general. I mean, obviously we don't know that yet because we haven't perhaps moved into the bigger picture of this, but I really like how you've just positioned that, and I really liked that you saved T. I think I probably would have let T drown, but I think it's really interesting the implications.
Just reading through the rules again, I think we haven't actually saved T yet, because this burning of our facet only means that I get to re-roll. It doesn't necessarily it doesn't mean that we succeed the roll yet. So let's see if T really survives.
Okay.
Maybe we just struggle really hard to save T, but then in the end it doesn't work out.
Roll them again.
Yes. Oh my god, I rolled 3 6s. We're good.
We go,
T is saved.
So all of the things you just narrated happened, and we will be reminded that burning a facet makes you re-roll and not just bump up the roll. But yeah, that's a really good little scene you've just put together there. I really like that very much. So I'm next. It's my turn. We're going to go to the next draw. Now I get to pull from the Royals deck. Now in this game, the Royals deck doesn't actually have any prompts. It's just got some loose questions that we ask every time we get to this stage, and then we have a roll again. And if we roll, we get to mark, and we succeed, we get to mark a point of legacy. Just to remind everyone, our legacy is to find new hope for humanity. So it says, how are you hopeful about the future, and why have your successes uniquely positioned you to achieve your true potential? What do you start doing to accomplish this? So I think, thinking about what we've just narrated, I feel like we have these two things. Q has started to broaden her understanding of her abilities by learning the science and the theory behind what she can do, whilst also kind of furthering herself academically. But she's also, I think, with this incident with T, I think that she has realized that she's on her own. And I think there's this kind of independence thing that we've talked about in the character creation. She has that fierce independence, but she realizes now that she sort of has to go it alone. And I think that when we talk, what makes her hopeful for the future, and I think that in the kind of like a wider story point of this, I think she's starting to realize, or perhaps she learns about this wider space program, this billionaires yacht club that are going to outer space to survive, that people don't know yet that they aren't going with these billionaires. And I think we'll call it like the Exodus program that these people are going on. This sounds great. These tech companies have put this together. And I think she's learning about it and starting to see a place in that. She's starting to think, well, hang on, well, maybe these skills that I have could be useful for that. And I think that I wonder whether we get word in our community that these companies, these billionaires are like going out into the world to try and find people with specialized skills. And maybe this is where she learns about it and tries to catch the attention of these like recruiters or scouts there is. So I think that's what we're going to roll for. So it says roll dice to see if we build a level of legacy. And I think that like if we succeed with this roll, I think that we catch the attention of recruiters and we fully believe that we are well suited for this mission based on what they tell us, based on the sales pitch they give us, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we fail this role, I think that happens. We are recruited, but I think that Q has no idea that it's a lie, and she is going to stumble blindly into this, thinking that this is an altruistic project and not like a completely selfish. We're fucking off to space. Good luck, everybody. Do they sound like kind of good stakes to you?
Yeah, I think they sound like good stakes to me. I was also thinking maybe if we don't succeed, maybe Q doesn't necessarily get recruited, but gets told to kind of apply again. And then basically she has to work towards this goal of proving herself to the recruiters again. That was another idea that crossed my mind.
What if T gets recruited?
Oh, yeah, that would be fun as well.
and we all know that T can't do it as well.
Yeah.
Right, that's what's going to happen. I like that. I rolled a 6, a 3, and 2 1s, so that's fine. So I think that. So firstly, let's mark a spot of legacy. You've got 8 boxes to fill out. That's the first one done. So yeah, that's pretty good. I think we sense there's this kind of excitement in the community, and the community don't quite know what this is going to be like, what the full implications of this are. And I think that there is this hope that we know as players to be a kind of a false hope in this community, that Q is going off to do bigger and better things, but actually we know as players that she's being used as a tool in this kind of like the playthings of these billionaire oligarchs, really. But I think that there is this, for this moment, there's this kind of celebration, and I think that like she's maybe at this stage she's going to be getting ready to leave her community. I wonder whether we can start to think about that, and I think maybe that's where we leave this little bit of the story. Like she's accepting that she is going to leave this community.
Maybe eventually, she might not be preparing yet, but she's probably accepting the idea of having to leave the community at some point.
Exactly, and she's readying herself now. So we have completed 1 round of the game. We're going to go through each life stage 3 times. We haven't died yet, so that's good.
It's quite good.
So you are going to go back to the Ace to 5 deck, and you pull
the 3 of Hearts. You've started a new career. What is your new role, and why are you uniquely qualified for it? Or you've been promoted in your career. How did your role evolve, and why is it more challenging? I think we should
perfect.
we should go with the first prompt. You've started a new career. What is your new role, and why are you uniquely qualified for it? I think so. The way I envision it, this Exodus program, I could almost see it being like I don't know how you call these. Oh God, there's a very specific German word for it, but I don't know the English translation. Basically, we're like the young recruits, the ones that are being boot camped into the actual like fully functioning adult worker in this Exodus program.
Cadets, it's like a
like a cadet almost. Let's call Q a cadet. She's a cadet for the Exodus program, and basically she's going through a very intense educational program, physical education as well as like actual academics. And I think her role is basically just being a student cadet. She's going through cadet school, and she's uniquely qualified for it. Basically, just through her skill set that she's brought from her life's training as a deep diver, deep sea diver, and she. She probably brings other qualities with her. Maybe I could see like all these young people, these young cadets being like the best in what they do, depending on if this is like deep sea diving, it could also be like other types of things. Maybe one is a math genius, and maybe another one is just someone that is incredibly good at I don't know, logical
I think they all come
connections or
from.
something.
They've
Yeah,
got
they
to
all
all
come
come
from
from
different.
different disciplines,
Yeah,
haven't they?
I would think so too. Almost like the X-Men, you know, like
Yeah, exactly.
everyone has a superpower, and they're all recruited into this school. All right, and I think let's see. The role is to see how well she adjusts to her new environment. I think that if I succeed in this role, she almost like blossoms into like a prime cadet. Like she's probably top of her class. She's very well presented in this school. She is very popular. She like both popular with the other cadets, but probably also with the educational personnel. And she's happy in what she's doing, and she almost feels like a sense of joy and pride in being there. And if I don't succeed, I think she struggles a lot with this. With this change of environment. Maybe she misses home. Maybe she misses tea. Maybe she misses like the other people from her community, and she could probably be struggling quite a bit with the question whether or not she is actually meant to be there. Maybe she feels like she's not qualified enough. Maybe she feels like she made the wrong decision by actually accepting this role. Maybe she also struggles with actually understanding whether or not this is something that she should work towards. Maybe at some point there's also some doubt that kind of comes up in her mind about this whole program. I think, yeah, those are probably good ideas that could cross her mind. Do you agree with that?
I agree 100%. I wonder whether just a little bit to add is like all the other students dislike her, like because maybe she's too good at something. Maybe she struggles but still succeeds, and that alienates some of the other students. Maybe I think that's something maybe we could fold in at any point. But like, I think that what you said generally is spot on. Like, you know, she either thrives or she just about survives.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I still have 4 dice to roll, right?
Correct.
Because we're still in the youth phase. Okay. So I rolled a 5 and a 6, which would be a success. And I think we see Q really. Do you say flourishing? Like, really, is that the right word? Yeah. She's very like flourishing in this new environment. She probably adjusts really well. She makes a lot of new friends. She builds new connections. She is top of her class. She kind of grows into this role as prime cadet quite quickly, and it's almost like it's giving her a new sense of identity. She takes a lot of pride in what she does. She's happy, and I think she fulfills this role as the cadet that is supposed to be like the base of this whole Exodus program quite well. And she probably has a lot of joy that this brings to her. Maybe I could almost say that maybe she even becomes one of these. How do you say this? Like like one of the prime example students, like the exemplary students that get mentioned like years after they've already left the school.
They get to have their name in the textbook as an example of like you know. Textbook example of like their specialty, and that now is what everyone learns from. Yeah, I like that idea. I wonder as well, like whether at this point, even this early into her life, she starts to gain the attention of like people who are higher up in the Exodus program, and maybe now she starts to be watched or like, you know, monitored. Excellent. So okay, I'm gonna do the next pull from the 6 to 10 deck, and I have got the 6 of Hearts. 2 prompts. It says, first one is, somehow one of your core assumptions about your past success has been wrong all along. What takes you by surprise, and why does it make you feel vulnerable? Or, somehow one of your core projections for the future turns out to be incorrect. What had you predicted, and why does this error significantly affect your trajectory? So this is a bit of a setback, and it says here to roll the dice to check whether you can bounce back. I wonder... Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the first one. So the first prompt, which says, somehow one of your core assumptions about your past success has been wrong all along. What takes you by surprise, and why does it make you feel vulnerable? I think we see Q, after being so successful in the Exodus program and attracting attention of higher ups and, you know, getting top marks and being used as an example student for her physical prowess, let's just say, given that, you know, we established that she was kind of like quite small in stature. She had like a gymnast physique. She's very strong, very, very agile, very nimble. And, you know, I wonder whether like we introduce at this point like a rival who has similar skills but seems to be unassuming, in the sense that like maybe they are the, you know, the person you mentioned who was really good at like puzzling logic out, and that you didn't expect them to be able to cope with these kind of pressures that the astronauts have to be able to withstand physically. And maybe during one exercise that everyone expected Q to be top of the class at, suddenly she's not. There's another person who is just as good as her, and all of a sudden a little bit of attention goes on them rather than Q. So the role is to check whether you can bounce back. Do we think that, like, if we succeed, Q maybe swallows her pride and becomes friends with this rival, and if we fail, they become an antagonist, maybe?
I think maybe friends is a bit of a stretch, but maybe there could be some form of mutual respect.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea of if you don't succeed, this person will become a full out rival to Q, and then if you do succeed, it will be like she will accept that there is someone that is at the same level as her, and maybe it will be like a friendly rivalry.
Exactly. Right. So still got 4 dice. Let's see what we get. I mean, 3 6s and a 5. Surely nothing to worry about for later when we lose dice. I think that we see Q in this moment not kind of smug or arrogant, but like, I think we see her proud of what she can do, and we see her expect to be being better than everyone else. We expect her. She has this idea. She knows that she's far and away the most talented person in this field. And I think maybe we see this on like a really strange obstacle course. So it's an obstacle course, but it relies a lot on not just like climbing up ropes and over walls. I think there's a lot of like balancing. It tests your strength and your agility and your balance and how nimble you are. And I think that we see her maybe it's like pouring with rain or something is outside, and like people are like falling off and slipping into puddles, and even people that had previously scored very well in this exercise doing badly, and she sort of dances through this obstacle course and gets to the finish line, and she looks back and sees the instructors like grading her and like, you know, marking her achievements, but she realizes that they're not actually watching her. They're watching this other person who is doing it better or quicker and, you know, with less fuss. And she's kind of shocked because maybe this is like a newer student. Maybe it's a younger student. And I think this student comes from a community where people aren't named as letters. I think her name is Bryony, and she's very unassuming looking. She doesn't have that kind of lean, muscular build that Q has. But I think that Bryony just sort of does it and looks like they shouldn't be able to. But I think that Q has this instinct that's kind of built into her, and this fierce kind of tenacious attitude that she has, and this independence that she has to want to be the only one who can do this. And she should be mad, but she manages to kind of like hold it back. And I think she's been told, and she's kind of realized her whole like young adulthood, and it's been kind of building to this, hasn't it, that like she might be the last person who can do this work. But now she's realizing that's not true. And I wonder whether it's making her feel less special. But then also, I think the positive from this, because we did succeed, is that she might just feel less alone. And I think that's what she perhaps draws comfort from. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I think she could possibly also feel like almost like a sense of connection with Bryony, because we talked about how she develops like a sense of respect for her rival. And I think maybe this, I mean, eventually we could see this maybe leading to like what you said, like a friendship or something. But maybe this is like the first, the first sparks, the first roots of something growing there. So I think this, she might realize that she's not alone, because there's people like Bryony basically in this program that share a lot of the maybe like the external expectations or pressures put onto them.
Yeah, absolutely. You're next. Again, we get the royal stage. There is no prompt to draw here. But how do these questions relate to what we have just gone through?
Yeah, so I'll read the prompt again. It's how are you hopeful about the future, and why have your successes uniquely positioned you to achieve your true potential? And what do you start doing to accomplish it? I think at this point, Q is hopeful about the future because she's come to the realization that in order to go through this Exodus program, in order to become an even better cadet, she needs to also maybe stay humble a little bit, and maybe to like she probably has come to the realization that before she might have, like, everything might have gotten a bit to her head, and maybe she was too focused and too prideful, and maybe a little bit too almost arrogant in a sense. And with this understanding, I could see her becoming hopeful, because she has understood that she's now matured in a sense, that she's now really grown into the cadet that she wants to be. And I think this is also how she could view this. This is also something how she could see herself being successful, and realizing her true potential, because she needs this being humble, this understanding of her own abilities, but also her own limitations, in order to become the best astronaut that there is. And I think maybe this will physically result in her almost kind of like, I see her like journaling and writing down the things that she has come to realize are possible limitations of her personality, in a sense. And maybe these are things that she actively wants to work on in the future. Like, maybe she's understood that she can be a little bit arrogant, she can be a little bit almost like overestimating herself in a sense, and that's something that she wants to dim down a little bit in order to become the better cadet. Like, does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I just wonder, in terms of like, if you fail this role, and to tie it back to something that happened in the previous round, I wonder whether, if you fail, that nagging doubt that people don't trust her is going to come back into it, and that, like, again, she feels isolated, even though there are other people who are as good as her now. But, she's wondering, like, could I still fail and cost someone their life, essentially? Because maybe as she's going through this program, the stakes are raising and getting a bit higher. But yeah, I really like that. So yeah, get the dice
Yeah,
out
I like
and see
that.
what happens.
Okay, let's see. That is not a success. It's 3 4s and a 2.
So we have a choice then. Would you like to burn another facet, or would you like to just say no, accept that we don't mark a level of legacy, and take the negative consequence into the next round?
I'm thinking. I actually don't know. I like me as a player, I feel like I would want to get another chance to roll. But at the same time, the negative consequence is quite interesting for the character as well.
And we do have sort
I
of
mean,
9 lives in this game. We've got 9 assets
yeah,
to burn.
we do. We do. I think I would like to move on without burning a facet.
Okay, so do you want to just like narrate then what that looks like? That that perhaps she doesn't start to accomplish what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you've already touched on it a little bit. I think there's like a nagging voice of self-doubt that kind of starts almost like haunting her, that just follows her into whichever exercise they practice next. And maybe with this like move the weeks after this obstacle course that you narrated, maybe she will come to closer observe what was her name, Bryony?
Bryony, yep.
Bryony. And whatever Bryony does, Q will attempt shortly after, and the voice in her mind will constantly tell her that she won't be as good. She won't be able to perform this as well as Bryony can, and that somehow kind of becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when you have this voice of self-doubt, it will always affect you in your actual actions. So she does not perform as well as Bryony. She does like continue to be almost always just placing in the second place. So Bryony is the one that really succeeds all the time, and for Q it's always a close second place. And I think over the following weeks and months, this voice of self-doubt almost grows into like a constant shout that is there, and that will that kind of haunts her into like into a phase where she really, whatever she does, she has this thing in her mind that just tells her she can't do what she's put her mind onto doing. And I think at some point she really starts doubting whether or not she's right in this Exodus program still.
Yeah, I think I really like what you said about her journaling, maybe. And I wonder whether we see her writing down the margins with which Bryony beats her, and we just see them getting bigger and bigger and bigger as these doubts are starting to plague her, and she starts falling further and further behind. I think you kind of narrated that beautifully. I think that's amazing. So we don't mark legacy. We don't build a level of legacy. We didn't choose to burn a facet. And we go round to the final round of our young adulthood. I'm the first to draw this time. I have drawn the Ace of Hearts. It says I have a choice of, it's a perfect opportunity to start a new activity, project, or initiative. What do you kickstart? Or a legacy activity, project, or initiative has been handed to you. How do you improve upon its progress? I wonder whether another cadet falters and we are handed their responsibility or their level of their area of expertise. So I wonder whether I'll choose a legacy activity, project, or initiative has been handed off to you. How do you improve upon its progress? I wonder whether there is something that Bryony and Q have to work on together. There is perhaps like an engineering task that requires 2 people working in tandem to do. I wonder whether the 2 best candidates of the class in the years above haven't managed to do it. and Bryony and Q are making such good progress as young cadets that they are, you know, moved forward in the in the education. They're kind of bumped up a little bit to see if they can do it. And I think it's this this really challenging exercise where they have to, you know, in the space training program, you've got, it's called the vomit comet. It's like this.
Oh yeah.
They spin you round and round and round to see if you can withstand this the G-force. I wonder whether it's something like that, but they have to do they have to like rewire it as it's going round at these top speeds, and it requires two people to like do it in tandem, because you've either got to be you can only hang on for so long, and you have to switch between doing the work and hanging on. And I think that Bryony and Q have been selected for this this exercise to see if they're ready to take the next step. The dice roll says roll to see if it's successful.
All right.
I think that if it succeeds, then Q realizes that even though she's fallen behind Bryony, they are just as good as each other. And also, I think she realizes they need each other. And I think if we fail, I think Bryony's going to be carried forward and Q is going to be bumped back. That's what I think is going to happen. So 4 dice again. Let's see what we get. Oh, 3 4s and a 1. Ooh. So I did not succeed with that. Looking at our facets, I'm gonna say, so we talked about one of her joys being this advocacy she has for the people who do her job. And we talked about it in a sort of like a union sense, but like I think that the union part of that has become a little irrelevant as we've moved through her story. But I wonder whether, like, even though she's top of the class, she's always advocated for those people who struggled and, like, you know, tried to help them and tried to get them additional support. Either by helping them herself or like trying to arrange like tutoring or whatever, because she wants to pull everyone up, like this kind of rising tides raise all ships idea. And I wonder if we burn that facet of her advocacy, she stops thinking a bit about other people and starts not the rising tides raise all ships. She starts pulling the ladder up behind her as she starts to be she starts to be identified as a very gifted person. So I think that's what we're going to do. Does that make sense?
But I think it does make sense removing this advocacy, because it also doesn't really make a lot of sense for the upcoming like aspects of her life. I think this whole union thing was kind of tied to her community as well, and I think I think I could see her parting with this facet.
And I think as well, like, whilst it's something that perhaps isn't relevant to the story we're telling at the moment with her being in this program, I wonder whether, like, somewhere there is someone in her community that would be crushed by her leaving this part of her personality behind. So we get to re-roll. We don't just get to bump it up. So we get to re-roll, and we've done much better. So we have 2 5s, a 1, and a 2. So we do succeed. So I think we see this frankly insane exercise of this pod being spun round on a gimbal at like high speeds. And I think we see it from the point of view of the assessors and the instructors, and they are amazed that not only are these 2 young women succeeding in the basics of like hanging on, doing the rewiring, hanging on, doing this delicate work at high speed, that, like, you know, their vision must be blurred, their balance must be completely thrown out, they're moving at like Mach 3 or something, like they shouldn't be able to hang on. Not only are they doing it, like, they are doing it better than anyone else has done it. And you know, you're seeing the whatever scores they have, like on graphs or monitors, like just flying off the charts and beating the previous bests from all of the classes that have been before. And I think that perhaps I'm going to introduce a story element. I think that even behind the scenes, like away from the assessors, there is like a slightly shadowy figure perhaps that is noticing this, and this person is like very high up in the Exodus program, and like this is the true recruitment, I think. And I think that's just happened. Like this person has made a note that these two are going to the program, and like this program isn't leaving Earth without these two young women. How do you see that scene playing out? Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that's already pretty good. I think it could also mean, however, that maybe Q and Bryony are isolated a little bit from the rest of their peer group. Maybe they it almost kind of it almost pushes them into like this role where all the other cadets are kind of compared to them, which could be quite like, it could almost, I mean, I think it would definitely make them out to be some sort of hero cadets that all the other kids can't reach. Like they will always be compared to those two, and they will know that they will never be as successful. So I think maybe there's a few of the other cadets that kind of look up to them, but maybe a big part of the group will have a certain amount of animosity towards them.
Yeah, I think as well, like, I think you established this, that when Q was a kid, she always wanted to be a hero. And I feel like she's starting to feel that now in this small sense. Yeah. But yeah, I really like how that's played out. So that's perfect. Right. Okay. So it's now your prompt. You got from the 6 to 10 deck, and you have drawn
the 8. Okay, so we have somebody new arrives and takes the limelight off of you. How do you feel about this change, and why does it threaten to consume you? Or somebody important leaves an activity, project, or initiative. How does it affect your progress, and why does it threaten to destabilize it?
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, and I think I want to pick that second one, and I think it must be Bryony that leaves the program. I think. Yeah, I think Bryony, I think she just can't withstand the pressure. I think maybe it's not that she can't withstand it, but she chooses to take herself out of the pressure of the Exodus program.
I wonder if she realizes who that shadowy person is.
Yeah. And maybe she just understands that she doesn't want to put her life on the line for this shady organization. And maybe she will try to persuade Q into leaving as well. And I could see this kind of, because what we established before a little bit is that both of them have grown into a role where all the other cadets are kind of like compared to them, and they have a friendly rivalry where they kind of like have a sense of mutual respect for each other. And then Bridie comes to the realization that there's no future in this Exodus program for her, and she probably at some point will maybe in like the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep, she will come to Q's room and tell her about her plans of leaving, and she will ask her to leave as well. And then Q will probably struggle with that. I don't think that Q would easily want to accept that this is the thing that Bryony could do, because Q's Bryony has been her rival for the past I don't know, maybe months or years, and if she loses Bryony, she loses like the only other person that is in the same situation as she is. And I think it would greatly upset her to realize that then if Bryony leaves, she would be the only one that everyone else is being compared to, and she would be the only one that is in this very unique position. And I think if I succeed this role, it will mean maybe it. I'm wondering if she would actually accept, like, if she would accept Bridie leaving, and if she would understand her goals, or if it would be that she just continues to move forward without actually trying to understand Bryony's goals. I'm not quite sure.
I think that's really. I really love the way you've described like the sneaking off in the middle of the night type thing. I wonder if you succeed, Bryony leaves, but the program forces Q to stay. And then she starts to realize that it's bad, but she kind of has to stay, and she realizes it's bad, which is the good result. If you fail, I wonder whether or not she lets Bryony leave and doesn't believe what she's saying about the program, and she goes blindly thinking, they're not suspect. This shadowy guy in the background is just he's just a normal guy. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. I wonder whether the success or failure is about whether or not she believes in the program, or if she's forced to stay. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. I feel like Bryony is such an important person. I feel almost like a little bit not upset, but I feel like a little bit disappointed that we could just have her leave like that. I feel like she would need to play a role eventually
maybe she
again,
gets
but
moved to another part of the program.
Yeah,
and,
something like that. Yeah,
and like maybe the success or failure is like whether we learn where she goes. Like, is she moved off to like a top secret part of it, or is she bumped down to like something else? And like, is this the point at which Q realizes that they're all being used, or does she think, oh, we're just being innocently, put off into where we need to be best serving the project,
I was thinking maybe Bryony wants to leave, but then she kind of confronts the Exodus program, and they forcefully remove her from this type of program to a different area, like you said, like they into some type of like secret lab or something where she's forced to continue to work or something like this.
I love it.
Okay, and then the success will be that. Or could be that Q kind of moves on from this sudden loss of her rival, and the failure would mean that maybe she will be left questioning, almost everything. Does it sound profound enough? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it really does. But let's just see if you do it first.
Let's just see what happens. I rolled a 5 and a 5, so that's a success. Which would mean that Bryony is basically forcefully removed from the program after she's tried to kind of like flee, but she's not out of the whole Exodus like organization. I think she's still part of the Exodus organization. She's just like almost like put into a sort of not detention, that's too mild of a word, but like into like a forced labor of some kind. I think she's removed from the position that she was in before, and she's kind of fallen out of grace with the organization, but she has to continue to work for them somehow. And I think Q manages to move on from having lost her rival, and she, after a few months, she kind of grows back into this role of being the only cadet that everyone else is being kind of compared to, and she starts taking a little pride in it again as well, because she's the one that is left. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I wonder whether, like, because she doesn't quite understand why Bryony has been removed or has moved on, she sort of doesn't question a lot of it, whereas she should. And I wonder whether that was why Bryony was moved, because Bryony found something out or started to suspect, and the people wanted her away from Q, so at least one of them would be able to do the work they needed to do. I think that this rolls straight into the next prompt, the royal prompt again, which is, how are you hopeful about the future? How have your successes uniquely positioned you to achieve your true potential? And what do you start doing to accomplish it? I think that's kind of rolls on from what you've just said. Like, she has to knuckle down and be the one now, because there's only her out at the front leading this cohort of students, these cadets. I think that there is this sense that now she doesn't have a rival, and whilst there's this kind of emotional connection that I think that she didn't realize she had with Bryony, she is also an independent person, and now she is standing on her own. Now she doesn't have to get into those complicated conversations about trust. You know, maybe there isn't anyone that she'll let down and have almost drown like T did. Like, maybe this is the freedom for her to succeed and, you know, make her way through this program, and like her goals state, like, give a new hope to humanity, you know, set foot on another planet. Because I think in the background to this, we can see, like, you know, craft being built, very specialized craft being built, and plans being sold to the public that people maybe don't start to believe. And perhaps that's what happened to Bryony. Maybe someone from outside the program fed her some information and just said, you know, this is a crock of shit, like, this isn't happening. So I think that there has to be this, because of Q's tenacity and this almost single-mindedness, this is how she starts to try and focus on her goal of, like, getting off this planet, whilst she might be slightly blinded to the purposes of the Exodus program. Like, she's never been, like, more determined to achieve that. So dice wise, I think if we succeed here, I think she is going to excel through the program and be, like, almost like fast tracked, because maybe, like, environmentally, like, things are getting worse, and they need to expedite leaving the country, the planet. But I think that with the positive result, I think that she's going to perhaps start to doubt some of those things. And if we fail, then I think that she is again going to blindly go into this thinking that, you know, this is a very benevolent organization who are only doing the best for everyone. So let's do it. That's fine. I got 6. So that's okay.
All right.
So I think that we see this kind of montage of, like, Bryony, you know, just now she's unshackled by. We see this montage of Q. Unshackled by Bryony's kind of rivalry. We see Q, like, acing every test, like, and destroying everyone else by every measure that there is in this cadet program. And at the same time, we do see Bryony, like, working somewhere else, like, doing like important but, you know, manual tasks in, like, perhaps like a big factory that, like, they're building these components for this space program, and you can see that everyone in this factory, in this workshop almost, is someone who is being punished for stepping out of line or questioning the Exodus program. And then we kind of cut back to Q, and we see her kind of graduating her class, but, like, there's a note of sadness behind her eyes as she, like, scans over the crowd of people seeing her graduate. And, you know, there's no one from her community, there's no one she knows except the other students who she thinks don't really trust her or like her, because they think that she's arrogant or too prideful or whatever. But she's alone, and she's starting to wonder whether the people that she's been impressing all this time with her grades and her performance really have anyone's best interests at heart. And I think perhaps we see, like, her doing an exercise, and maybe this goes back to like that book learning she did right at the very beginning. She's starting to realize that the numbers don't add up, that the capacities for these ships and for these, you know, these terraforming plans they've got, like, they aren't going to support the amount of people that are supposed to be leaving. And she starts with this nagging doubt in her mind, like, is she just part of a scouting expedition, or is this genuinely it? Is she going to be on one of the few rafts that leaves this planet behind? And she starts to realize that perhaps everything's not quite as she thought it would be. Do you have anything to kind of spice that up with?
I think I would say that she, personally, I think maybe this realization will kind of be only there in the subconsciousness of her mind. Like, I think she will not fully understand the implications that this this information brings with it. I think it's something that she still is able to kind of rationalize somehow. And I think, you know how, like, sometimes you have all the information that you need in order to put something together, but you will kind of compartmentalize it into different things, and exactly. Like she doesn't yet understand the true meaning of what she's come to realize, I think.
I think that's a really good point. I think that like she can't quite articulate what it is she feels. She can't quite connect those dots.
There's like a sense of doubt, but it doesn't fully
connect yet.
Yeah.
So mark us another tick of legacy, because we got to the end. I will. There. Yeah, lovely. So that's 2 out of 8 that we've done. We've only had to burn 2 of our facets to get here, and at the end of this life stage, we get to reflect on our journey so far. One of the questions is, how have I changed and grown? One of the questions is, how did the world around me react to my actions? And then the last question is, how has this life stage strengthened my resolve to achieve my rightful legacy? You got any immediate thoughts on any of those questions?
So how have I changed and grown? I think through all of this, Q has probably, I mean, this is a very broad answer, but I think she's probably matured a lot in the sense, like she used to be a very, maybe almost like boastful, prideful, arrogant, little person. And she still probably holds on to some of these aspects of her character, but I think she's grown a little bit. We talked about how she's started to understand that some aspects of her character have certain limitations that they bring with them, and they kind of held her back for a longer period within this youth stage of her life, and she's overcome them. Like, she's overcome her boastfulness, she's overcome her pride, she's overcome her arrogance, and she's moved on from it to become a person that is just kind of settled in themselves, and that has a strong sense of self, and a strong sense of I don't know the right word for it in English, but she has a good sense of what she can do and what she can't do, what she's good at and what she's not so good at. And I think it makes her a more confident person, I would say. But at the same time, the confidence in herself has also started to maybe make her realize what you described before, that there must be certain limitations to everything, everyone around her, and especially to this program that she's working in as well, because she's seen one of her biggest rivals that was excelling at the top of her class as well kind of being dropped out of the program for a reason that she doesn't quite understand yet. And I think this has kind of put her into a position where she also is beginning to realize that not everything in life that she's thought she understood really, like maybe she's not able to completely grasp, or she's come to realize that she's not able to grasp everything in life that she's been presented with. It's hard for me to like verbalize, but Maybe before she's always kind of held onto ideas of something that she thought she understood, and now she's realized that there's much more in the background of things. Like, she always assumed her and Bryony would move to the next stage together, but now this other person is kind of removed from it, and she's understood that maybe there are things working in the background. Like, maybe there's not just like the surface, but there's many layers to this organization, many layers to other people, many layers to herself. And I think all of this has kind of been put together into just like a general stage of she's matured. I don't know how to phrase it better.
I get it exactly like what you're saying. And I think that I don't really want to add much more to that, because I think you've actually explained how I feel about Q and the world at the moment. I think the one thing I want to add is to that question about how the world around is reacting or changing based on the actions that we've taken. I think story-wise, in this bigger picture, I think we start to see the Exodus program moving quicker. And I think that as we move into the next stage of our life, I think this is when we need to start thinking about it leaving us behind and leaving the world behind. Whether we have to do like a time skip maybe, or like whether we want to say right now that like this life stage ends with those ships leaving and everyone left behind, and Q watching those ships leave, or do we want to save that? How do you feel about that?
I feel like now, I mean, I would see this youth phase almost as like the years of her preparing to go into the actual physical training of becoming an astronaut. And now she's in the actual Exodus program where she's in the phase. Like, I would see like her adult phase or young adult phase as the phase where she is being prepared to leave. So at the moment now, I feel like it would be too early for the ships to leave.
Okay.
And I feel like the next life phase would be basically all the like Q and all the other cadets that have been chosen for the mission, actually preparing for the mission, and then after this they will leave. That's what I
know.
imagined.
I think I just wanted to see how we were feeling about like this thing that's going to happen. We know is going to happen. Oh, we might not. Like, we've established all these things. We're gonna see how this works. Okay, so that ends our young adulthood. We're going to leave this episode here. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in like 3 weeks' time probably to record the rest of this. Thank you, Kash, for
You're very welcome.
for joining us, and we'll see everyone next week. Goodbye.